can we fix the quarterback situation in Cleveland? What is going on, Baker?
If you thought the Cleveland Browns quarterback battle would be a slow burn, think again. This year, the dog pound is witnessing a rookie revolution, a culture clash, and a front office cover-up, all rolled into one. At the heart of the storm, Sanders, the fifth-round project, who's turning every snap into a statement, and Gabriel, the hand-picked third-rounder, who's watching his golden boy status slip through his fingers.
Listen, I plead the fifth, but I don't know. When I was healthy, I was starting to get pretty damn good there.
That's fair.
There you go.
Not my problem anymore.
All right now.
This isn't just a training camp story. It's a referendum on merit, momentum, and the future of a franchise haunted by decades of quarterback misfires. So buckle up, because in Berea, the only thing more electric than Shedeur's arm is the controversy swirling around him. Day 7 of Browns training camp was supposed to be routine. Instead, it became a turning point. After weeks of being buried on the depth chart behind Joe Flacco, Gabriel, and even Kenny Pickett's injured hamstring, Shedeur Sanders finally got a taste of real opportunity. The Browns tossed him a dog bone, a handful of reps against the starting defense. What did Shedeur do? He didn't just chew on that bone, he turned it into a 5-star feast, obliterating the door off its hinges and lighting up Pro Bowlers like Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and Greg Newsome. While Shedeur was slinging pinpoint lasers, Gabriel was sailing throws, nearly tossing picks and squandering his first-team reps like confetti in the wind. The golden boy and the gift-wrapped opportunity. Let's talk about Gabriel. Drafted in the 3rd round, he was crowned the golden boy by the Browns brass. He's been gift-wrapped every opportunity, handed the red carpet, and given every chance to seize the job. When the lights are bright, Gabriel shrinks. On day 7, with the first-team offense against the second-string defense, he produced nothing. 3 plays, 3 misfires, 1 chucked out of bounds, 1 nearly intercepted, 1 woefully wide. If Shedeur had delivered that performance, the narrative would be calling for him to switch to wide receiver. But for Gabriel, silence. Excuses. He needs more time. Meanwhile, Shedeur is tossing dimes to undrafted rookies, while Gabriel wastes premium talent. Even Gabriel's lone touchdown of the day was a dump-off to Gage Larvadain, who did all the work after the catch. That wasn't a clutch throw. It was a bailout, a lucky stat padding off someone else's brilliance. The owner's blunder and the masquerade of denial. Let's not forget Browns owner Jimmy Haslam, who essentially threw GM Andrew Berry under the bus for drafting Shedeur in the first place. That's, quote, "it's aging like milk," because here's the unfiltered truth. Shedeur Sanders is the future of the Cleveland Browns, period. But instead of rewarding merit, the Browns are hiding behind politics, ego, and favoritism, burying the obvious choice like fans can't see what's unfolding. Even a blind man could recognize who the best quarterback in Berea is right now. The only mystery is how long this masquerade of denial continues. A 5-star feast against the first team. When the Browns arrogantly called Shedeur's reps a dog bone, they underestimated him. His opening series 2 for 3, with the lone incompletion barely missing on a tight crosser. He rolled out, zipped a dart to Gage Larvadain, then fired a laser to Cade McDonald with defenders draped all over him. This wasn't beginner's luck. This was surgical calm, commanding, and he did it all with second-team weapons. No David Njoku, no starters, just raw talent, grit, and poise under pressure. The defense wasn't ready. The coaches weren't ready. The fans weren't ready, but Shedeur was, and he made the building feel it. The rigged deck and the locker room shift. Let's cut through the spin. This isn't a quarterback competition. It's a cover-up. The Browns are playing with a rigged deck, dealing face cards to Gabriel while slipping jokers to Shedeur. And the fans, they see it. The locker room feels it. The media is done pretending. Day 7 should have ended the debate, but instead, the same tired excuses continue. Meanwhile, Shedeur remains buried under a depth chart that's become more political than practical. Kevin Stefanski and the offensive staff have spent weeks gaslighting everyone, repeating, "We're just rotating. We want to evaluate everyone." Please, the only thing being evaluated here is who can stomach the truth. The numbers don't lie. Shedeur Sanders went 6 for 10 on day 7, highlighted by a clinical 2-for-3 series against Cleveland's vaunted first-team defense. These weren't just dink and dunk checkdowns. They were lasers fired into tight coverage timed with surgical precision and unshakable confidence. One pass was disrupted by a perfectly timed hit from a safety. The other 2 dimes to rookies who had no business being open against elite corners. Contrast that with Gabriel, 6 of 11, 1 touchdown, multiple misses. That lone score, a glorified checkdown that Larvadain turned into a highlight reel on his own legs. Gabriel misfired, airmailing throws, and nearly tossed another interception against the second-team defense. If that's what first-team reps are buying the Browns, they're getting fleeced. This isn't some isolated off day. It's a recurring trend. Gabriel's been gifted better protection, top-tier receivers, and endless opportunities, yet Shedeur continues to close the gap with fewer reps and infinitely more pressure. That's not just talent. That's grit. That's what NFL-caliber resilience looks like. If Shedeur is already producing these kinds of numbers with backups and limited snaps, imagine what he could do with the full arsenal. But the Browns don't want to imagine that, because admitting it would mean the underdog has outclassed the franchise's hand-picked favorite. You can't manufacture leadership, you can't fake momentum. In every NFL locker room, players recognize who the true alpha is long before the coaches catch up. That's what's slowly and now suddenly emerging in Cleveland. While the coaching staff clings to outdated politics and the media clings to their spoon-fed narratives, the locker room is watching Shedeur Sanders earn their trust the hard way, rep by rep. When he started hitting his targets against the first-team defense, you could feel the atmosphere shift. The sideline took notice. The energy flipped. This wasn't some rookie checking a box. This was a quarterback taking command, dissecting a defense most vets struggle against. And he's doing it with guys fighting just to make the roster. Gabriel's hollow hype shifted the lens back to Gabriel. His only sideline hype came when Larvadain spun out of a tackle and sprinted into the end zone. Let's not kid ourselves. That ovation wasn't for the quarterback. It was for the receiver's brilliance, because Gabriel doesn't move the locker room. Shedeur does. From practice squad players to hardened veterans, teammates are gravitating toward Sanders. He's composed in chaos, confident, not cocky, and most importantly, he delivers. That's not just leadership, that's the DNA of a franchise quarterback. And the longer the Browns pretend otherwise, the louder that locker room will become. The owner's quote, "A franchise blunder just days ago." Haslam sat in front of the cameras and washed his hands of the Sanders pick, pinning the decision on GM and Barry. But after day 7, that soundbite might go down as the biggest blunder of Haslam's tenure, because Shedeur Sanders just did what Dillon Gabriel hasn't done once. He went toe-to-toe with the Browns' most ferocious defenders, and he didn't blink. He moved the ball with accuracy, composure, and zero excuses. Haslam's quote doesn't just look misguided, it looks pathetically out of touch. How often does an NFL owner publicly distance himself from a rookie outperforming veterans and higher picks? It's not just bad optics, it's a slap in the face to every Browns fan with a functioning pair of eyes. The game tape is out, the stats are circulating, the internet is relentlessly dragging Haslam's quote across every platform. More importantly, the fans aren't fooled. Twitter is ablaze with highlight clips of Shedeur threading needles. The imbalance is being called out. And whether diehard or casual, everyone's asking the same question. Why is Cleveland's best quarterback the only one not being treated like one? Haslam thought he could dismiss Sanders quietly. Instead, he poured gasoline on a fire. Now that fire is engulfing the Browns' entire narrative. The national media's blind spot for weeks. The national media has tiptoed around the truth. ESPN talks Flacco. NFL Network hypes Gabriel, but no one touches the Sanders storyline. Why? Because it doesn't fit their formula. He's not the golden child with the top draft pedigree. He wasn't supposed to be here, and worst of all for their narrative, he's winning. But after day 7, the dam is cracking. Shedeur didn't just survive live reps against the Browns' #1 defense. He thrived. This wasn't cleanup duty. Training camp has just kicked off, and yet the quarterback battle in Cleveland already feels like a formality. The eye test. It's a blowout. Day 1 didn't belong to Joe Flacco. It didn't belong to Kenny Pickett, and it certainly didn't belong to third-round pick Dillon Gabriel. No, day 1 belonged to Shedeur Sanders, the so-called QB4, a fifth-rounder son of prime, and apparently too confident for the league's liking, strolled into his inaugural NFL training camp and made the entire depth chart start look irrelevant. From the moment number 12 hit the turf, the entire energy shifted. Spirals snapped out of his hand. Precision, composure, command. Fans were roaring just from warm-ups. And when live reps began, Shedeur cooked the defense. Gabriel didn't. This wasn't about equal opportunities. It was about execution. And Sanders didn't just look like he belonged. He looked like the future. The gap grows wider. Gabriel, on the other hand, looked overwhelmed. It's only day one, but the separation is already unmistakable. The real question isn't whether Sanders can catch Gabriel. It's how much longer the Browns can pretend this is even a real competition. The gates hadn't been open 10 minutes before the crowd started chanting one name, not Flacco, not Pickett, not Gabriel. The energy was all behind Shedeur. From the instant he jogged onto the field, fans were locked in, phones raised, voices high. With every pinpoint throw, it became blindingly obvious. Shedeur Sanders didn't just pass the eye test, he owned it. The data doesn't lie in. Closed OTAs, Sanders completed 77% of his throws, tallied 9 touchdowns, and threw just 1 interception on a tipped ball. Gabriel, despite more reps and facing softer coverage, struggled to string completions together without errors in timing. That regression carried into training camp, and people are taking notice. Victor Ford didn't hold back, saying to us, "Sanders deserves to win this job outright." He added, "You don't draft a short QB in the 3rd round just because he has a firm handshake and so-called leadership vibes. That's not slander, that's truth." At 5'11", Gabriel struggles to read the middle of the field. When the pocket collapses, so does his base. His footwork disintegrates. Sanders, unshaken. If you're a Browns fan, you already know the future is here. The only question is, will the front office finally see what everyone else already does? Enjoyed this breakdown? Subscribe, share, and stay tuned. Because in Cleveland, the real quarterback drama is just getting started.